Hi guys, in this video I'd like to dive a little deeper into the relationship between chords, the triads, and the scale, and how they are intertwined together to make the fabric of our music, our harmonies, of all Western music. So in the past, as a little review, we talked about what the components or the anatomy of a triad is. We've got a root, and then up the distance of a third, which could either be 1.5 steps, a minor third, or 2 steps, a major third, we find the note that colors the chord, the interior note of the third. And then above that, either 1.5 steps or 2 steps, another third, we find the fifth, which really isn't a color tone at all, more of a supportive note of a triad. Root and fifths are often heard as power chords. Gotta excuse me, I'm a little bit out of tune. Okay, so what we're going to do is explore a little bit how the chords of a scale are produced. And what I'm going to be doing is using the theory book Shapes of Triads, which are on page 30 and 31. And so if you need to have that out for a reference, that's a good idea. And we'll get into the inversion shapes later on down the line with another video. The inversions mean that the root's no longer in the bass. When we look at the chords we're going to play, we're going to be looking at what we call root position chords, which means the chord will always be in order, root, third, and fifth. And I'm going to start on a G string root and walk my way up the fretboard. But before that, let's do, again, a little review of what's going to happen here. I've got a C scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And I can link up the Guitar One video where I do the crash course in triad spelling. We can put that on there for you guys, and you can take a look at that too and kind of review. But what we find out is, as we build each chord, C, E, G, and then I go to the next letter name, and I skip every other letter name, D, F, A, E, G, B, F, A, C, G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F, C, E, G. So what I did there is I started on a chord tone, the root C, C, E, G, and I skipped every other letter name. I stacked in thirds until I had 3 notes. Well, the result is we get a major chord only on the 1, 4, and 5. So that's a great rule to remember, is that the 1 chord is always major, the 4 chord is always major, and the 5 chord is always major. All the other chords are minor or minor type chords. So that's a great rule to remember, but remember, it's only a rule for diatonic chords, chords that are from the scale. So in the key of C, we could already automatically say C, F, and G are major chords. All the rest of the chords are minor. Well, what's the 2 chord in the key of C? Go up a whole step, the letter name is D. It has to be D minor. What's the 3 chord? Up a whole step, E. It's a minor type chord, E minor. Then F, then G, both major chords, my 4 and 5. Remember, we call the 5 chord the dominant. The 4 chord's actually called the subdominant. Then we get to G, moves up a whole step to A. We get to the 6th, which is the relative minor key. Also the 6th scale degree in the major key, and that is A minor, okay, A minor. If we go up one more whole step, we get B minor, but the 5th is an F natural. And again, you'll remember this keeps coming up when you're spelling B chords or the key of B, the perfect 5th to B should be F sharp. It doesn't match up. It's not 3.5 steps to F natural. It's 3.5 steps to F sharp, which is a perfect 5th. So we actually get what's called a minor chord with a flat 5, a diminished chord. It's minor, and the 5th is flatted. So it's 2 minor thirds stacked on top of each other. And this idea of being able to play chords on scales is a great technique for guitars. It opens so many doors to get you to think about keys in a new way, in a new harmonic way. But it also opens up the fretboard to really cool patterns and fills that guitar players play. So for example, when you hear a guitar player doing something like these kinds of moving thirds, they're actually playing the scale. Whoops. They're playing right out of the scale, just harmonized notes. Very common to hear these kinds of things. Mi, re, do. So you're hearing these kinds of little moving chords all the time in guitar playing, and it opens up your playing that way too. But it also gives you an idea of, again, orchestrating things a different way, smoothing things out with different chord voicings you can use. And I'm going to start with the very first chord being the one on page 30 on the bottom of the page, which is C, E, G. Check my tuning one more time here. Okay, so I've got 5th fret C, 5th fret E, and 5th fret G. I am in order, the root, the 3rd, and the 5th. So in order to make this a minor chord, I would just flat the middle note. So those are the two shapes I'm going to be basically using for this whole entire scale. C, E, G. If I move up a whole step, D, F, A. I flatted the 3rd and made the 2 chord minor. Remember, the 2 chord will always be minor. The 3 chord, E, G, B. 3 chord will always be minor. And you can hear how really organic and natural that sounds. No note sounds out of place in that grouping. Now, a half a step, I had C, D, E, F, F major, F, A, C. Notice I'm only using notes from the C scale, but I don't have to search around and find them on the fretboard. This is part of the beauty of doing this, is that I can find them right in the chord pattern instantly. I know that's F, that has to be A, and that has to be C if I play a little major triad. G, B, D. And there it is, G at the 12th fret, B at the 12th, D at the 10th. A, C, E, this is going to be the 6th chord, A minor. So I go from G major to A minor. A, C, E. 14, 13, 12. B minor is next. I go up a whole step, but remember the 5th is flatted, so I take it from the F sharp down to the F natural. And there's that diminished quality sound. This is actually the top 3 notes of a G7 chord, so it's not as unusual as you think to hear these notes in the key of C. When I play this, we can hear those 3 notes in the G7 chord. And then if I go up a half a step, I can get the C. So I don't have to play it way up there either. I could have switched down after the G chord, 12, 12, 10. Instead of playing 14, 13, 12, I could have played 2, 1, open. A, C, E, B, D, F, and C, E, G. D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B diminished, C. And you now might see where I was playing that figure from earlier. I was using the G and the B string to play a major partial chord, a minor partial chord, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor. So guitar players will use the root and the 3rd like that to bring out the sound of the chord and to do a little fill-in or to play a melody that's harmonized, and we love that sort of thing. We can do them in single notes. we can do all sorts of picking patterns there. One of the things I would suggest here is playing these as chords, but then try different picking patterns. Try to play down the chord in rhythm. I would also go backwards. I would also try playing inside the chord to outside. Gives great, again, fill-in chordal ideas, but also for lead playing too. If I was playing some melody in the key of C major, I might fall into using some of those ideas to ornament my melodies and to play a little more extended techniques rather than just running the scale. So it's a great way to expand your playing. You could take any one of these triad shapes on page 30 and 31, because the 31 page contains the minor shapes, and play another scale. I'll demonstrate what I mean. If this is C, there's C, E, G. I'm still... One of the beauties of playing the guitar in the wintertime. C, E, G. D, F, A. This is off the A string root now. E, G, B. Another minor chord. Again, I'm not searching around for these notes. I'm plugging them in on the 5th string. I know that's a C. I play the major pattern for a triad, the major chord shape. I know this is D. I flat the 3rd, and I play the chord shape, and the notes automatically are under my fingers. E, G, B. Still minor. I know 4 chord is always major. There's the F chord, the G chord, 4 and 5, A minor, B diminished. I would still have to play up here, B, D, F natural, and C, E, G. So it works there off the 5th string root, off the 6th string root. Those are actually the same shapes, just move over one string set. And if I started C here, on the D string root, the 3rds in the middle is, again, as it is for all of these, easy to find. D minor. There's the little bar across the top 2 strings. E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B, D, F natural, the flatted 5th, 7 chord, and C. This is, again, what I was talking about to you guys before as a class, that you know, as guitar players, it's so hard to start organizing the information we're learning and checking off things that we get done. It just seems like sometimes it's just an endless kind of flood of information, and we put this little piece here and this little piece here, and we never build up or climb that mountain the way we'd like to, and to really start to progress as a guitarist. This is one way to do that, and I really encourage, you know, practicing the chords on scales. It's going to teach you so much. It's going to teach you about what chords go together in a key, how your fretboard works in a harmonic sense. It's going to open up your soloing and melody playing, and give you new ideas there. It's just so many, there's just so many ways this expands your playing, and gets you used to these chord shapes that you can use all over the fretboard without being intimidated. And you can start to check off these boxes like, hey, I can do my scales on the 3rd string root, on the 4th string root, on the 5th string root, on the 6th string root. I can do 1st inversion chord shapes. I can do 2nd inversion chord shapes. And again, we'll get into that in another video. So give it a try. Try your chords on scales. You won't be disappointed. Have a great day.